Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this session. Thank you for attending this Illinois State Board of Education update. My name is Steve Parrott. I'm the Technology and Engineering Principal Consultant in the CT and Innovation Department at the Illinois State Board of Education. I've been in this position for 15 years, and prior to this, taught 10 years at Lincoln Community High School. The agenda for this session, we will be speaking about strengthening CTE for the 21st century, also known as Perkins V. We'll be looking at the couple of funding sources that you have available to you. Talk briefly about the different career and technical student organizations that fall under technology and engineering. Share with you some free curriculum resources, and then provide my email information in case you have any additional questions after the presentation. Strengthening CTE for the 21st century, also known as Perkins V. It is the federal reauthorization of the Carl D. Perkins Act, which was signed into law by President Trump on July 31, 2018. The purpose of this act is to develop more fully the academic knowledge and technical and employability skills of secondary education students and post-secondary education students who elect to enroll in CTE programs and programs of study. And again, this was signed into law back in 2018. This past year was a transition year, and then fiscal year 21, this current school year, is when we are implementing the actual state plan. So what's the major difference between Perkins 4 and Perkins 5? I've shared a few on this particular slide. The law requires more input from a diverse stakeholder group in the planning process. And the stakeholders should include parents, teachers, students, administrators, community organizations, and business and industry. With Perkins V, you can go down into the middle grades to receive funds, all the way down to 5th grade. There's also a focus on equity and access for all students to be able to participate in CTE programs of study and courses. Also a focus on special populations. I'll list a few of the special population groups: students who are homeless, students who have parents that are serving in the military, students who have some learning disabilities, and so forth. There's also a focus on employability skills and labor market, as we are trying to ensure that the programs are leading students to high skill, high wage, or in-demand jobs. And then we went from a student concentrator from 3 courses down to 2 courses to be considered a student concentrator. Couple of funding sources coming from the State Board of Education. One is state dollars, which is known as the Career and Technical Education Improvement, also known as CTEI. Roughly, there's $38 million allocated towards CTEI. Of the $38 million, close to $34.7 million will be getting down into the districts, to the schools. How are these funds allocated? Well, basically, a school is going to receive 90% of what they received the year before currently, and the remaining 10%, 5% is going to be determined on student enrollment, and 5% determined on student generated credit. Did they pass the course? Federal funds, the Perkins dollars. The state of Illinois, the past year, a couple of years, received just over $45 million. There is a 60-40 split with the Illinois Community College Board, with 60% going to ISBE, the other 40% going to ICCB. Again, roughly there's $25 million that are going to state leadership grants, and or most of it going to the districts/schools. And the next point there shows probably a little over 22 million going to what we call the Education for Employment Systems, which there are 55 comprised of the districts across the state. And then those funds flow from the EFE down into the districts, into the schools. How are Perkins dollars determined? Through a statute. 70% of the funds are going to be going towards poverty and 30% for population of 5 to 17-year-olds. It is a estimation of geographic location as well as that population of 5 to 17-year-olds. So it is an estimation. How can money be spent? There are basically 5 overarching program funding, what we call function codes. It's going to be for instructional purposes, going to be for counseling purposes, going to be for program improvement, going to be for also administration, as well as other administrative like areas. And then it gets a little more detailed as far as the object codes that we use, which deals with instructional purposes, such as salaries and benefits. Then you can also spend money on purchase services, on supplies and materials, as well as on equipment. I want to touch on the 2 career and technical student organizations that fall underneath technology and engineering education. First up is the Illinois Technology Student Association. I've placed on this slide the website that you can go to at your leisure and get more information. The other one is Skills USA of Illinois and their website as well. Some changes in this year from previous years is we didn't allow any funds to be used on career and technical student organizations. This year, you are able to use funds to help pay for teachers' stipends, to help run the organizations for their extracurricular components that they have with them, taking them to conferences, competitions, working with students after normal school hours. You can also use our funds to help pay for state conference registrations, and that could be for competition and or for leadership. And you can pay for student membership, but only for those special population groups. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of our free curricular resources that we have. The first I'm going to talk about is the International Technology and Engineering Educators Association, Engineering by Design. Illinois is a consortium member of ITEA's Engineering by Design. There's their website that you can go to. I'm going to try to get to there in just a second. There are a couple other presentations going to be speaking about the ITEA's Engineering by Design curriculum. Gary, Cody, and I will have a session for elementary STEM curriculum. Teams in particular, technology, environment, engineering, mathematics, and science. And for you high school teachers, if you have co-workers that are dealing with elementary students, please feel free to share this information with them. Gary and my session as well, so that they can access the curriculum for free. And then Ryan Nowitzki from ITEA will give a more in-depth discussion on the Engineering by Design high school curriculum. I'm going to stop sharing for a second, and I'm going to try to go into let's see, I'm going to try to go into the website here. Oops. Apologize. So here is ITEA's website. If you just go to www, there's three of them, .itea.org, you'll get to ITEA's site. You can create an account. You don't have to be a member. Just create a login name and password, log in. When you create that account, make sure that you indicate that you're from Illinois, and then that way I can then provide access to the curriculum for you. I'm just going to scroll down and just briefly touch on the different courses that you can access. High school teachers, you can access any of the curriculum, but you're probably going to want to focus on either the foundation of technology, technology and society, technological design, advanced design application, advanced technological application, or their capstone course, engineering design. You can implement these courses as is, or you can use these courses lessons and implement them into your other courses that you are teaching. And again, I would recommend that you would check out the other sessions by Gary and by Ryan, and you'll get more detailed information there. The State Board of Education also has a contract with Illinois State University to develop curricular resources. It's Illinois CT Innovative Curriculum Resources. I provided their web link as well. I'm not going to go, well, let me see if I go there. Let's see what happens. Here it is. I think you're going to see it. No problem. So here is that website as well. It's going to share all the different curricular areas up here that you can look at and use. You're probably going to be interested in manufacturing, engineering, technology, and trades, perhaps also arts and communication. And if you just scroll down, you can see lessons. You can click on the lessons up here and go to their library. Again, this is stuff that they're working on. It's a work in progress, but you will be able to access the different lessons in here. They use a 5E approach. The engineering by design uses a 6E approach, which engagement, enrichment. The 6E stands for engineering by design. But you can go in and peruse and look at these and access them and use them as you see fit for your particular needs. And then I'm going to show, I think, one more. And that is can be found on ISBE's website. And if you get there, you can scroll down to our lessons, our curriculum, and here's our different program areas that you can check out and use for resources. Here is manufacturing, and I think I already have a PowerPoint up someplace. Here is an example of some of those lessons and how they're developed, the objectives, the resources, the equipment, the tools, supplies, things that you might need in your facility. Shares the terms that students would need to know. You give you an interest approach and so forth. So I would recommend checking that out as well. Go back to our PowerPoint. And here is my contact information. My email is sparrott, that's PARROTT at ISBE.net. If you have any additional questions or any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, the areas that we covered for this quick session is basically a quick update on Perkins 4 to Perkins 5, shared a little bit about funding, how CT is funded, at least from the state, I'm sure that you also have local dollars that help with your programs as well. I want to highlight again our career and technical student organizations, ability to use those state and federal funds to help with career and technical student organizations, Illinois TSA, Skills USA of Illinois. Then also to provide and to share some of our curricular resources that we are offering and sharing with our teachers across the state as well. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I would be happy to help. Take care and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you.